بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت الحكيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallahu khairan for joining us again for another look at the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This time looking at the 19th juz of the Quran, as we are quickly approaching the last 10 days of Ramadan. And in this particular session, we wanted to actually look at a couple of verses that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He places upon the tongue of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. So we're going to be looking at these verses, inshallah ta'ala, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says,
قال أفرأيتم ما كنتم تعبدون أنتم وآباؤكم الأقدمون فإنهم عدو لي إلا رب العالمين الذي خلقني فهو يهدين والذي هو يطعمني ويسقين وإذا مرضت فهو يشفين والذي يميتني ثم يحيين والذي أطمع أن يغفر لي خطيئتي يوم الدين رب هب لي حكما وألحقني بالصالحين واجعل لي لسان صدق في الآخرين.
and so the translation of the meaning of those verses is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, meaning Ibrahim alayhi salam, then do you see what you have been worshipping, you and your ancient forefathers? Indeed, they are enemies to me except the Lord of the worlds, who created me, and He it is who guides me. And it is He who feeds me and gives me drink. And when I am ill, it is He who cures me. And who will cause me to die and then bring me to life. And who I aspire that He will forgive me my sin on the day of recompense. And he said, meaning Ibrahim alayhi salam, my Lord, grant me authority and join me with the righteous, and grant me a reputation of honor among later generations. So these are powerful verses from our father Ibrahim alayhi salam, who he is standing up to the people of his time who are in the worship of idols, and he's trying to show them the foolishness of that which they're worshiping. And so he mentions to them some things that we should really take in consideration. That he says that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who feeds me and gives me to drink. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who causes me to become sick and then cures me. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives me life and causes death. And so Ibrahim alayhi salam, he's mentioning to them something that is very fundamentally important. Is that as Muslims, we understand that the way that the world works, we recognize things as having effects. So for example, if I'm sick and I take a particular medicine, that medicine is going to make me better. Or if I'm hungry and I eat food, then that food is going to satiate my hunger. Or if I'm thirsty and I drink water, then that water is going to satiate my thirst. But Ibrahim alayhi salam is giving us a deeper reality, what the ultimate reality truly is. That the ultimate reality is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one that does everything. That He is the cause of every effect. That, as we would say from the standpoint of Aqidah, that everything in existence is contingent. That everything in existence is dependent upon a necessary being. And that necessary being Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that when we drink, or we eat, or when we take medicine, It is not the food, it is not the drink, nor is it the medicine that actually cures us. Rather, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who does. And that is the reality, that we don't look at the creation as being at the same level as the Creator. And so this is one of the pivotal reasons why we understand that it is foolish to worship anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because at the end of the day, nothing has the capacity to do anything without the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Ibrahim alayhi salam is standing up to his people, trying to show them the reality of this. And this is something that in our times, we as Muslims need to stand firm upon. Because even though people in the vast majority of situations don't worship actual idols in terms of stone figures or the like, we still have idols in relation to those things that we place in the position that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is supposed to have. So in our times today, for many people, our desires become our idols, or our intellects become our idols, or fame and power become our idols. Meaning that we do things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has called us not to, believing that these things are going to give us some type of benefit, or that these things are superior. To the point that we will go to the extent of even rejecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala altogether. That, for example, with the idol worshippers is that even in the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even though they worshipped idols, they would still believe that there was a ultimate supreme God. It's just that you can use these 313 other idols to get closeness to him. Whereas in our times today, the rise of atheism and just denying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala altogether is becoming very prevalent. So as Muslims, we want to bring people back to this reality. That the reality of everything is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the necessary being. He is the one that causes everything to happen, and it's He alone that we should turn to, seeking aid and seeking help. And that ultimately, as Ibrahim alayhi salam mentioned, that we hope that He will forgive us of our shortcomings and our faults. Because at the end of the day, it is to Him we are returning. And this is something that we've seen happen in the time of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, where it was considered to be close to the time that he was to pass away, and he became very ill. So some of the companions had come and they had checked on him, and when they seen the state that he was in, they asked, "Can we get you a physician? Can we get you a doctor?" And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, it said that he responded by saying, "The doctor has already visited me." And so they asked him, "What did the doctor say?" And Abu Bakr responded by saying, he said that he's going to do whatever he wishes. And so what Abu Bakr was teaching them, even at this time of death, was that the ultimate reality is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who is the true doctor. Meaning that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, He will cure me of this disease. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not will, then I will not be cured of it. And that it may be a situation where my life will be taken. But ultimately, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is deciding. Again, it's not the means. This is not to say that we don't take the means. This is from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that we do take the means. But we don't rely upon those means. We don't consider those means to have power within themselves. That we understand that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the only one who truly has power. And so this is a reminder for all of us that we should always remember, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That there is no power nor strength except with Allah. That there is no cause in existence except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that everything that we see in this creation is nothing more than the effect of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying to it, Kun fayakun, be, and it is. And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who recognize who He truly is to the best of our capacity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to not be distracted by the creation and to pour our attention towards the Creator. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us and have mercy upon us and guide us to that which is pleasing to Him, and keep us far away from being of those who associate anything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it be directly or indirectly. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الله سبحانه وتعالى أعلم، هو اسمنا ونعم الوكيل. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
قل له كن فيكون، قل له كن فيكون، قل له كن فيكون. قل له كن فيكون.